Can you successfully exploit technicalities in law in this country? A couple of days ago, an accused person moved an anticipatory bail application which was rejected. The person that was then arrested by the police, and then the lawyer for the accused person then moved a regular bail application before the court. The moment the regular bail application was taken up by the court, the judge immediately went to the prayer clause, because that's what judges do. They immediately want to understand what is the crux of the matter. After reading the prayer clause, the judge points out to the lawyer of the accused person that you have the terminology which is used is anticipatory bail, which you are seeking from this court. And that is why your application is not maintainable, because your client is already in custody. You can only seek anticipatory bail if you're not in custody, if you're not arrested by the police. And I was appearing for the complainant in the matter. I kept my mouth shut and I saw what was transpiring in the court. I did not even have to say anything. And in this matter, the lawyer for the accused person immediately said, all right, I will withdraw this bail application. I will move a fresh one with the proper terminology. And I thought to myself that this person could have pleaded before the judge that there are numerous Supreme Court judgments that if the terminology might be misplaced, but in essence, the crux of what you are seeking is correct. The facts there are correct, and what you are seeking is correct, especially in criminal jurisprudence where pleadings don't really matter as much as they do in civil matters. The person ought to have maybe said to the judge should have considered that the terminology does not really matter, and this application could still have been decided. However, there is this other aspect, which is that at the end of the day, the discretion to grant bail or not still vests with the judge. So if you are able to win on a technicality, the judge can say, all right, your bail application is maintainable. Now let me go and dismiss it on merits. And that is the reason why perhaps it was a good decision on the part of the lawyer of the accused person to simply withdraw the bail application. The drawback to this, of course, is the fact that now, after making those small changes in the Word file, the person will then print it out, collate all the documents and file it before the registry of the district court, which will then move the matter up before the concerned court. And this whole process will take another minimum 3 to 5 days. And in fact, this thing happened about 3 days prior to the winter vacations. And right now we are in the winter vacations, because of which the person is still incarcerated. Of course, the bail application could have been moved before the vacation judge, but we have no information of that happening. So I'm assuming that just because of inability of the lawyer to move that bail application during the vacation time, the matter will be taken up and heard at the appropriate time post vacations, which means that the client, the accused person, is in custody for far longer than perhaps what was needed. But this comes with this valuable lesson that even if there are technicalities which can be exploited, like in this case, often it is advisable not to do so. And even if you are exploiting technicalities, the focus should not be on I have got this technicality that I can work with and the judge must give me the relief. You need to remember that because of two reasons, it is better, far better, to convince the judge that your client is right and your client has a better case compared to the other side. The two reasons are this. One, the parliament and the state legislatures always, in almost all sorts of enactments everywhere, they give a very, very wide amount of discretion to the judges adjudicating the matter. So even if you have a good case, the judge still has the power, the discretion to say, oh, your anticipatory bail application, I'm going to dismiss. Your regular bail application, I'm going to dismiss, because I have the power. Simply, the person can say, of course, they don't say this in their orders, I have the power, I don't like your client. They will say, all right, there is a possibility of fleeing from the process of justice, tampering with evidence. The investigation is still at its nascent stage. The offense is very, very severe. They say all these things, abstract things up in the air, and you have no option but to go in appeal against these orders then. And that is the reason why, and second reason is that, even if, apart from the discretion aspect, the judges always can carve out new situations in which the law which has been laid down by the top courts as well as perhaps by the parliament and the state legislatures is not squarely applicable to this situation. And these two reasons in conjunction with each other means that it doesn't matter whether the law is actually on your side or not. What matters more is that the judge is convinced that your client is correct, the other party is wrong, and they are the perpetrators. If you are able to convince the court of this, even if there are 100 misgivings on the part of your client, the court will still side with you and give you the necessary relief. Even if the law, so to say, is not on your side, the judge will dig out something and grant you the relief that you seek. And this is the reason why also, when I started my practice of law, whenever a person would come to me and they would say that they are going through this particular ABC situation, I would read up the law and I would tell them that whatever they are trying to achieve is not possible, because the Supreme Court of India in this XYZ versus ABC matter said that this is the law of the land. And so if this law goes against you, then what are you going to do? But the more I have practiced law, the more I have seen for my own clients sometimes, and for sometimes the opposite party, relief being granted by the court, which from the first view would be completely absurd and going against all notions of jurisprudence set by the legislature as well as the judiciary. But this is the reason why, because there is always a lot of discretion with the judge. The judge can do as he or she pleases. And that is the reason why, rather than focusing on what technicalities you can use to win your case, it is better to convince the judge. And then after you have convinced, you can then point out technicalities which the judge can exploit to give you the relief that you want, even if you may not be in the strongest position. Because in India, it is not the lawyers who are able to efficiently exploit technicalities on most occasions. The technicalities are there for the judges to use as and when they deem it fit.